Okay, for reals this time. We're doing Scheherazade. Okay. I'm gonna start by doing all of the main sections and talking about little practice tips for each one. And yeah, I'm using my 14 by 5 snare drum, Black Swamp. I'm using an Evans orchestral head, the Freer muffle. I'm not using the big one, just the regular normal muffle. Freer sticks, I have 2 pair. These are my super dense ones. I always buy 3 pairs of every stick just to have different densities, just in case. So these are super dense for super loud playing for me. But for the first section, I use less dense ones. These are really bouncy too. Okay, so Scheherazade, D to E. Tricky thing is because it's soft and it decrescendos and all that stuff. So, pardon the noise, I'm in the basement. So things to think about, whether or not you're going to use your wrist or your forearm for these. So it just depends on what you're really comfortable with. So I would start off with doing them kind of loud. My first teacher, Patricia Dash, would have us do loud ones first. And basically you're doing the same relaxed motion, just smaller. So for me, I use more forearm than wrist. The forearm keeps it kind of cushioned. If you use your wrist, it'll be a little bit more articulate. So it just depends on what kind of sound you want. If you want a little bit of both, you can do both. It's just a little harder. That's kind of what I do. I do a little bit of both. So really getting to see what that double stroke feels like without the doubles is a good help. The other thing is really making sure you have a phrase. So it isn't a waltz. Da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. So don't go. It should have. And you can achieve that a lot of different ways. Obviously, you have the crescendo, and the 4, 5, 6 can either be right, right, right. This is my right hand, or right, left, left, or whatever lilt will sound good or feel good for you. Just use that one. So some people do. So they'll start with the roll, and then end the roll with the last hand. And it's really just making sure it's consistent. It's better. There we go. So just getting a consistent feel and consistent lilt and phrase that you like, things like that. So you can obviously practice it loud first, but have the same character. Don't go, don't. Okay, so. Cool. Something else that might help is breathing on the downbeat, like So don't forget to breathe. Cool. Cool. That helps also if you like move around a little bit, gets you out of like this stagnant. That might help some people, but for me, I like having the freedom. Cool. Okay, consistency will come. Just get the phrase and the feel first, and then consistency will come. Cool? Solo and some major. Cool. Cool, so that's D to E. Then F, then we have the roughs. So some people, so there's a couple ways you can stick this. From F to G, obviously you have the rough, rough. It tends to be a little bit easier usually to just keep the roughs in the same hand. For me, I keep them on my right. But it shouldn't sound like that. Again, it should have that 1, 2, 3, 1. So you shouldn't have that. You know, it should be 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So some people do for the 4 and 5 and 6 hand, they either do again, this is my right, so they'll do a double paradiddle, and then have the rough on the last beat. So I'll either do double paradiddle, or they'll even do single 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So they'll do that. Again, whatever feels easy. Some people will even do. So they'll do doubles. Again, you want to make sure the phrase comes out and that it sounds consistent. For me, I like doing the double paradiddle sometimes, but my other teacher from DePaul, Eric Milstein, just hand-to-hands it. So he'll just right, left, left. So we'll double the left at the end. Sorry. And towards the end of before I got this job, I started doing that. So that's what I did for this last audition. So for me, it feels really nice because I don't have that. For some reason, the triple right with the double paradiddle is a little bit weirder for me. So personally, if you can do it, I would recommend hand-to-hand for that last one. Cool? So that's D, E, F to G. Okay, G to H. Now we got the buzz rolls. So again, you want that lilt at the end, right, left, or triple it, 1. The thing about the buzz rolls, don't make the buzz rolls louder than the single notes. You don't want that. It should be like. So you just want to fill the roll. So whatever speed and whatever density you need, just make sure it's relaxed. I think I'm doing 5s. Some people do 4. The thing about 4s, you don't want it to sound like right? You want it to sound just like a cushioned roll. Cool? So that's why I do 5s. Usually an odd number roll will sound the most clean. So that's why everybody usually does 5 for a long roll instead of thinking 1. They think 5s. Cool? So I would recommend that. Okay, now when we get to the, let's see, before I, the piano roll to the forte, again, don't do like a Shostakovich forte roll. Again, it's just a nice warm roll. Like that kind of thing. So it is forte, but it's, da da dee da 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 dee da da So don't go da da da. No. Nice cushion roll, like Capriccio Espagnol, like that kind of like that kind of cushion. Nice warm, cool. Nice and warm. All right, so that's the third movement. Oh wait, no. Last 4 bars. The pianissimo, yeah, pianissimo roughs. So it should be light and lilted, you know. Cool. Practice your triple stroke roughs, okay? Those were bad. Except for the last one. You get the idea. So it usually has that like natural diminuendo because the string's going higher and higher and higher and higher in weight. Cool? So do that. All right, now we get to the fun stuff. Not that that wasn't fun, but you know what I mean. Okay, so now we're in the 4th movement. That was the 3rd movement. I won't go through, let's see. I'll go through the main spots. Letter 4 before N. Whereas the previous movement where you had the crescendo roll was very, warm and cushioned, this one's a little bit more intense. So things to think about because you're coming from mezzo forte to sforzando or sforzando to that, okay? So things to think about. If you've been practicing my sneak preview of stroke types, you should be able to do this now. Because essentially what you're going to be doing is crescendoing, and then you're doing a down, down into the pianissimo. Cool? So you should be doing roll. Cool? So then you add the roll. So I would start off first doing the roll, the crescendo, and then just getting into position first. Okay, so doing the downstrokes. So I would practice that first. And getting there, and relaxing, cool? And then starting. So doing it again. Okay? Now, the cool thing you can do with this is because in a hall, you're not going to be able to hear those pianissimo taps right after the initial shock. So what you can do is diminuendo into it. So you can do one of these. So it's like, it's almost like, so the first bar of end you can do initial hit, softer, 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 pianissimo. Okay? So in slow motion, I'm doing sixes for the roll, so I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, Now, for N, I like having a little, what do you call it, legato stroke or tenuto on every bar, just to keep the movement. So I'm not doing, I'm doing like da 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 da. You know, it keeps the consistency a little bit better. Also gives you a little bit of forward motion. And I feel like it's easier for the audience to clue in on what's going on instead of like, where are they? You know? Oh, like you can hear, it's not much. It's not like, it's just a slight tenuto. Cool? So I would suggest that. Okay? All right. So that's N, basically 4/4 N to O, basically. And then we get to the cool part, P. Now, the thing about P to Q and R, yeah, P to R, the roughs. Now, you don't want the roughs to get in the way of the, okay? You want it to be cool. You don't want, you want it to be just a slight, cool. Excuse me. So it shouldn't be, should be. And again, this isn't like too, the ensemble isn't too thick that you have to be that loud. So it should be like, you know, it says forte, but with, you know, some caution. So. Cool. So the dynamic doesn't have to be that intense. You can show intensity with articulation. So for me, I'm having a lot of upstrokes. And then we get to the cool part, okay? With the 30 seconds, every fourth bar, basically, you want to make sure it has like that little, so you have that initial start, not too much diminuent, you don't want like, you don't want that, but it should keep the same intensity throughout, so. So I would first really establish what you want those to sound like, and then practicing landing into those. Oh, that kind of thing. So for me, I like those. And everybody goes, you know, so follow the line. Okay, now for Q. Everybody okay? Now for Q. Again, if you've been working on the stroke types page, you should be able to do this a little bit easier than normal. So you're going to be doing, what I would practice first is the crescendos going up. So you have, it's in mezzo forte, there's not really an accent on the first one, but you can add a little bit of tenuto, okay? So a little tenuto, and then crescendo. Okay, so I would just practice crescendo first. So, 1, so I would just practice that first. So you're doing 2 upstrokes. Cool. Okay. What are your thoughts on volume increase? 9th measure of Q. Okay, I will get to that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I agree. I'll tell you why. Okay. Okay, so again. Okay. Okay. So first that, and then you're just gonna practice the 2 downstrokes at the end. So, and a 2E and you can get where this is going. You're going to put the 2 together. Okay, so you just, these are just going to get you back into the position. So it'll be and a 2E, and down, down, and a 2E, and down, down, and a 2E, and down, down, and a 2E, and that's basically the structure you're going to use. As you get more comfortable, really relax into that feel. Don't try to control it. Don't go, like, relax into it. It's gonna come out. Okay, and then, so first practice that way. Now the 4/16 notes, a lot of people do different things. Some people keep it on the same. I personally don't like that because that. I mean, you can obviously go, but then that's a lot of work for one hand, so I just like doing, so I just like keeping it the same as the 30 seconds, just because same sound concept and also the same feel, it's just twice as slow, or you have the idea. Okay, you get the idea. Now, what Josh was talking about, Joshua Farrell, 9, I think the last name, sorry. Okay, 9 after Q. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, what happens in the band, the trumpets, their pitch goes higher. So for me, I like showing that a little bit by adding a little volume into the drum. So first you have the now what I do to add the volume is I just add a little bit more weight. I don't do anything with the height at all. I just add a little bit more weight and a little bit more cushion to get the drum to sing a little bit more. So what I do is lighter weight in the beginning. That's what I do. I just crank it up a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. Just to keep it interesting. Because again, you don't want to be like... You get the idea. So I crank it up a little bit. Yeah, cool. Any thumbs up? Some people do the roll. If you can do it, do it. You know, if it sounds good, good. You know, but it's just a little bit more difficult to get the excitement out for me. It's a lot of work, so. Cool. I like leaning into that one a little bit too. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. The other thing. Oh, traveling. So, me personally, I don't I don't do that. I keep it all basically in the same spot. I do the crescendo with my hands, not the drum. Okay? Because watch, you're gonna have. You have like. If you remember, from going back to 4 bars for N, you're going to have like the loud, it's going to be too loud in the hall to hear all of that on the bottom. So it's easier for people to hear it if it's at the same spot. You can travel a little, but not too much where it starts changing the effects and the sounds of the drum. Like even that might be too much. So really do it with your hands, not the drum. Cool. All right, now S, the diminuendo roll. Personally, whichever one you want to start, Just make sure it's nice and cushioned. Don't go like, you want to keep it, again, think about what's going on in the band. It's not like, ah, you know, it's more like, shh, like it's just like a crash of a wave, right? Now, again, I'm doing an odd number roll for the long one. And really stick that last one so they hear where the time's going to be. You know, don't be, where's the time? You know, just make sure you stick it. Say, so at S, 1 and 2. Okay, now we're, let's see, 7 bars before T. I like crescendoing those rolls using triplets. So I like doing that. Some people do, it's a little bit, it's like that kind of Philly type roll, but I like opening it a little bit more just to give it a little more like cushion. Like, I always talk about cushion. Just, I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like that. So, okay. Just make sure it's dee-da, dee-da, dee-da. Okay. Instead of like. But again, that's my personal preference. I like dee-da, 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 you know, instead of like zha, 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 instead of that. You can make it work, I mean. But again, I want the crescendo to be leveled with the other one. I feel like it goes dee-da, 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 like that, like zut or zut, 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 like that. So it just depends. Whatever sounds good to you, whatever sounds like the piece to you, do that, okay? So then we get to T. To do doubles or not to do doubles. Again, whatever is going to sound the best, feel the best, and get the point across. So for me, doubles get the point across is a lot easier and a lot less hectic for me instead of... Like, I could do it, but I'm kind of like, ah! So instead I want to feel like, ah, you know? And this way I can actually still imply Q to R a little bit. So I like having a little bit of like, like softer waves. So. And remember, if you remember the third movement where I said you can use your wrist to get it a little bit more articulate instead of having the cushion of the forearm. Here I use that a little bit more. So it's still a little bit cushion with the forearm, but I use a little bit more wrist to get a little. Because again, this is soft, and you want to be able to, you want the audience to be able to hear it clearly instead of just like, you know, out there it might sound like, wah, you know. So you want to be very articulate and really come across well. Okay, so that's what I like doing. And then the last one, two before you. The trumpet goes so I like showing that a little bit with a diminuendo at the end. So I like doing that a little bit. Cool. And that's basically all the excerpts that you'll find in auditions. Now if you get to the più stretto, that's like 35 after V. These are a little bit more intense, more like Shostakovich rolls. So again, I do triplets with a very, like a poppy, like that. And again, I don't like getting it too crushed. I want it to be as open as I can. And again, you want to show some phrase. You don't want to you know, show some phrase, you know. You know, excitement. Not just I played them perfectly, you know. No, it's just like cool. You know, make it sing. Again, that's mezzo forte, but it has to have the intensity of like a forte. And then you have the cool. I like doing that. Arm. You get that really nice cushion, because as you get louder, the velocity is going to increase with the stick throw. So you want to cushion it with a little bit more weight and slower movements with the arm. So that's why whenever you see me do the, it's always cushioned with the arm. Like a timpani stroke. Again, back to timpani. I always do that. Cool. And then you're off to the races, because you're taciting. Yeah. Any questions? I just talked a lot. Anything else in here? Yeah, that's all Scheherazade.